I believe we are on now. As the technical problem has not been resolved, Council, I believe we can bring the Asansar testimony to a closure and get the next witness. But before doing that, you have one or two procedural matters to raise. Please proceed, Council.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Indeed, with these technical problems, perhaps it is best that we abandon the oral testimony and resort to some other means of getting Mr. Sarr's evidence into the record. I have his statement here. I would ask that the statement be admitted in lieu of the oral testimony, and if the Commission agrees, his statement would now be Exhibit 198.
Fine. If the Commission agrees, you may please proceed, Council.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. In view of the fact that the public does not know the content of the statement, perhaps it would help if I just read out the operative paragraphs so that the people would be aware of the contents of this statement, what Mr. Sarr was going to testify about.
You may please proceed with reading that paragraph.
Thank you very much. You recall before the technical problems, Mr. Sarr was talking about that he was certain that Mr. Sonko, the then IGP, informed Yaya Jammeh of the arrest of the migrants who were in Bara at the time. His statement went on to say as follows. They spoke for about 3 to 5 minutes, meaning... Okay, yes. Perhaps. Thank you very much. So I will read out parts of the statement of Mr. Sarr, and you would interpret it to the public. Before the interruption, Mr. Sarr did say that he was certain that Mr. Sonko informed the president about the arrest of these migrants. They were sitting about 6 meters away.
Léegi nag comme que ñu ngi xaw a am jafe-jafe tuuti pour mun a jokkoo ak Mr. Sarr am na ay kàddu yoo xam ne bindoon na ko fi comme mënuñoo eggali waxtaan wi ak moom ñu jàngal leen tuuti rek ci kàddoom yooyu nga xam ne moom la bind balaa ñu doon dem nag noppale ko ji ñu ngi ko doon laaj mbiri xibaar googu nga xam ne moom lañ jot ndax eggee nañ ko kii di président bi ndax Mr. Sonko mi nga xam ne jamono jooju mooy woon kilifa gi amee kaaraange biir réew mi moom nag wax na ne óor na ko ne jokkoo woon na ak président bi loolu nag ci kàddu yi mbinda nii moom la council bi bugg a jànga.
They spoke for about 3 to 5 minutes and he came back to where we were seated and told us that they needed a ferry. They needed to ferry them from Bara to Banjul and suggested that the Navy should assist in the process.
Sonko wax na ak président bi lu tollu ci diiri ñetta ba ñeenti minute ba juróomi minute ci la dellu si waat nag ci ñun ne léegi dañ soxla gaal boo xam ne moo leen mun a jàllale yóbbu leen fa nga xam ne foofu la ñooña nekk te nag soxla ne ñi nga xam ne ñoo nekk ci soldaari manduwaar gi ñu dimbali leen ci gaal googu
pour ñu jële gaa yi Baara indi leen Banjul
ngir ñu mun leen a jëlee ji Baara indi leen Banjul.
At that moment, we called the Navy commander, who was Lieutenant Commander Sajo Fofana, in an acting capacity, and gave him directives to ferry those arrested from Bara to Banjul.
ci jamono boobu nag ci lañ wax ak ki nga xam ne moom mooy njiiti Navy gi muy Sadio Fofana jamono jooju nag pour mu mun ñoo jàppale ñu mun a am gaal goo xam ne dina leen mun a jëlee ji Baara indi leen Banjul.
I used to alternate as Navy Commander with Lieutenant Commander M.B. Sarr prior to being appointed as Chief of Staff. But during this period, he was away on a peace support mission to Darfur.
Dama daan ay loo nag ak ki nga xam ne moo di Sadio Sarr Sadio Fofana.
MB Sarr
MB Sarr dama daan ay loo ak MB Sarr.
ci njiitali soldaari Manduwaari. Proceed, please. Proceed, please.
Come again, please.
I just corrected something.
Okay.
Damadan ay law ak ku ñoo wax MB Sarr ci njiitali soldari Manduwaari.
Wow.
Okay, and then he went on to say that MB Sarr, that is prior to my being appointed as Chief of Staff. But during this period, he, meaning Mr. Sarr, was away on peace support mission in Darfur.
Lolo nak moy bala ma don def Chief of Staff. While loolu nag dafa fekk nag balaa Mr. Sarr doon tukki di dem ca Darfur doon fa dem liggéey ci saxal fa jàmm.
Okay. Lieutenant Dembo Jaju was the fleet commander.
Lieutenant Dembo Jata moom mooy ki nga xam ne Dembo Jaju mooy ki nga xam ne moom moo jiite woon ñu waroon a dem foofu noonu.
Moom moo amee woon gaal yi mooy commandant bi amee woon gaal yi. And Lieutenant Sila Kujabi was officer commanding Naval Command.
Lieutenant Sila Kujabi nag moom mooy ki nga xam ne moom moo jiite woon ñi amee wàllu manduwaar gi.
After a while, I called the commander of the National Guards at the time, Lieutenant Colonel Trrc Pt2, to go to the Naval Command and inform me about the situation of events when they arrive.
Ci ab diir nag ma dal di ebal nag Lieutenant Trrc Pt2
Lieutenant Colonel
Trrc Pt2 ngir mu dem mun a waxtaan ak ñooñu nga xam ne ñoo nekk ci manduwaar gi.
Briefly after Lieutenant Colonel Trrc Pt2 left, then President Yahya AJJ Jammeh decided to leave the July 22nd Square and went back to State House.
Ci diir bu gàtt boo xam ne Lieutenant Colonel Trrc Pt2 bàyyeekoo na fa rek ci la Président Yahya Jammeh moom itamit dal di jógee ci ndaje moomu ñu doon def July 22nd Square dal di dem ca dëkkuwaayam ba State House.
At this point in time, I had no idea what might have prompted the Commander-in-Chief's decision to leave, but wanted to believe that he may have been uncomfortable staying at July 22nd Square with the information he received from IGP Sonko.
Ca jamono boobu nag mënuma woon a leer lan moo woon sabab bi tax ba njiiti réew mi waroon fa bàyyeeko waaye li ma yaakaar mooy ne xëj na xelam dalutoon di xibaar boobu nga xam ne moom la jot ci loxo IGP Sonko.
The rest of the service chiefs then decided that we should go to the Naval Command and see what was happening.
Ñun ñeneen kilifay kaaraange yi nga xam ne ñoo fa nekkoon nag ci leen dal di nangutoo ne nañ dem nag ca fa nga xam ne moo di màkkaani saxaar manduwaar gi ñu mun a xam la nga xam ne moo fay dox lan la.
I arrived at the Naval Command and met Lieutenant Colonel Trrc Pt2 waiting. Ba ma fa àggee nag ma dal di fekk Lieutenant Colonel Trrc Pt2 mu nga xaar. The Navy commander and other authorities on the ground had already complied with the directive and had dispatched GNS Fatima, if I may be right, to bring those arrested. Jamono boobu nag nga xam ne moo jiite ñooñu fekk nañ sax moom mu dal di nangutoo ba pare pour ebal ñoo xam ne muy gaal goo xam ne GNS Fatima la pour ñu mun a dem jëli ñooñu nga xam ne ñoo nekk baara ngir indi leen. We later saw two of the Youth Development Enterprise YDE buses arrive, escorted by the DG NIA and the IGP at the Naval Command, with State House and NIA personnel led by Kausu Kamara alias Bombarde. It was too long, sorry. Okay, I would interpret that. Mune ñu jógee ci gis ay boss mooy ay moto yu mag Youth Development Enterprise ñooñu egsi ci place bi ñi leen indi mooy Director General bu NIA ak njiiti police ànd nañ tam ak ay soldats yu jógee ci kër président bi ak ay NIA personnel ay ndawi NIA bokk na ci ñi leen jiite mooy ki ñuy ooyee Kawsu Camara alias Bombardé. I'm getting good training in interpretation. I only know and recognize him amongst the teams that came from State House.
Mo dal ni mako xamé ko ne mu ngi bayeko ci ñi nga xamné ño bayeko ci kër gu magga mu di State House.
This is in reference to Bombardé, of course.
Bombardé la doon wax nonu.
Because he was a showman and familiar with almost everyone.
Ndaxte nit la ko xamné nak ku farsala dafa minante ak danaka ñu bari.
With the case of the NIA personnel,
lu aju nak ci mbiri ñi nga xamné ñoy liggéey kat NIA.
I don't know them.
Ñom mom xawma leen.
But there is this agent or operative
waaye am na ñi ñoo ndaw yoo xam ne ñu ngi faa liggéey.
that is very familiar.
kii moom xàmmee naa ko bu baax.
And was with the DG NIA.
te mu ngi àndoon ak DG bu NIA.
I last saw him the first day I visited the NIA headquarters in Marina in 2017.
maa ngi ko mujjee gis nag bés bu mujjee ba nga xam ne demoon naa ci màkkaani NIA bi nekk Marina ci atum 2017.
Before my reinstatement to the gaffes and deployment to the foreign service.
balaañ ma yóbbu jëlee nag ci fi nga xam ne moo di liggéeykaay soldat gi ebal ma pour ma dem toogal réew mi ca bitim réew.
balaañ ma delloo suma place ci liggéeykaay soldat yi ba pare yónni ma bitim réew. He was a pleasant personality and came to where we were seated, myself, Captain Demba Njai and Lieutenant General Langtombong Tamba, and greeted us all.
moom nag ci la dal di ñëw na fekk ñu fa ma toog ma Demba Njai ak Captain Lieutenant Langtombong Tamba dal di ñu nuyu ñun ñëpp.
And continue to have a chat with them.
Continue nag di waxtaan ak ñoom.
This, however, made me to believe that he was one time a member of the gendarmerie.
lii taxoon na sax moom góom nag ne moom musoon naa nekk koo xam ne daan na liggéey ci gendarmerie bi.
Mr. Chair, just a tip. I want to believe that this is in reference to Ngor Seck.
lii dafa naa ki moo wax ni kooku mun naa am mooy Ngor Seck.
At about 2200 hours,
ci fukki waxtu yi ci guddi nag.
GNS Fatima arrived at the Fissers jetty of the Naval Command.
gaal googu ñuy wax GNS Fatima ci la dal di teer nag ci foofu nga xam ne moo di place Naval jetty bi.
With the first batch or team of arrestees.
ànd nag ak kuréel gu njëkk ci ñooñu nga xam ne ñoom lañ jàppa.
And they were escorted under armed guards in a single file.
ci lañ leen dal di yóbbu nag ci ay ñoo xam ne ñu ngi leen doon garder te ñu ngi gànnaayu woon.
One after the other and made to sit down on the floor in that order.
ñi jiital leen benn nag di dal di leen taaj ci dar bi.
At the Naval Command premises.
ñu def leen nag ca fa nga xam ne fa la manduwaar ga nekk.
However,
ba léegi.
at the point of disembarkation of the arrestees from GNS Fatima,
ci jamono ji nga xamee ne ñu ngi wàccee ñooñu nga xam ne ñoom lañ jàpp ci gaal googu di GNS Fatima.
to the point of escorting them to the Naval Command premises,
ba yóbbu leen nag ca fa nga xam ne moo di Naval Command ba seen place bi.
they were not armed.
ñoom ñëpp amul kenn ku ci gànnaayu.
Neither were they carrying any other item that could raise an alarm or trigger any form of suspicion.
amul dara loo xam ne tamit gàccoo woon nañ ko loo xam ne dina tax ba ñu xaal leen a ñaaw njorta ci seen mbir.
GNS Fatima then made a second voyage to bring the rest of those arrested.
GNS Fatima nag noonu la delluwaatee pour indiwaat ñeneen ñi nga xam ne ñoo des ci ñooñu ñu jàpp.
At this point, I cannot remember if the first team waited for the rest to enter the buses or not.
jamono boobu nag mënumaa fàttaleku de ndax ñi njëkkoon a indi dañ doon xaar ñeneen ñi pour ñu egsi ñu door a dugg ci bus bi wala déet.
But finally, the GNS Fatima made its final voyage back to the Fissers jetty, and they were all escorted by the State Guard and NIA personnel to unknown destination.
xam naa ne daal ca mujjanteel ga daal sa gaal googu di GNS Fatima mujjee naa indi ñëpp nag ci lañ leen dal di yóbbu.
ci place yoo xam ne xawma leen. Thereafter, I went home, and the following morning, 23rd July 2005, at about 10 o'clock, I received a call from Superintendent Pa Jallow, who is a family friend and a brother.
Ca ëllëg sa nag ñaar fukki fan ak ñett ci weeri July bi ci fukki waxtu ci suba ci la jot na xibaar gu bàyyeekoo ci Pa Jallow di ko xam ne suma naataango la.
He was believed to be Crime Management Coordinator, that is CMC.
Moom nag xam naa ne moo nekkoon Crime Management Coordinator jamono jooju.
At that time, informing me that they saw some remains around Burfoot, but didn't explain in detail what was the nature of the remains.
Di ma wane ne nag am na ay niw yoo xam ne gis nañ leen boori Burfoot waaye nag continué wut pour wax ma daal mbiri niw yooyu naka la tëri.
At that moment, I thought there was an accident at sea.
Jamono boobu nag dama fogoon ne dafa am accident boo xam ne am na ca géej ga.
It never occurred to me that those arrested the previous night could have been murdered.
Musuma xalaat ne ñooñu nga xam ne ñoom lañ jàppoon guddi balaa bés boobu war nañ leen a rey.
On 31st July 2005, I left Gambia for the National Development Course.
Fanweeri fan ak benn nag ci weeri July ci laa génn nag ci réew mi na dem jàngi.
And then he talked about the training he went to.
Ci la dal di wax nag njàng moomu nga xam ne moom la demoon defi lan la umba.
He said while in Taiwan,
mu ne nag ba mu nekkee ca réewi Taiwan.
I guess at that place I began to discover issues about Ghanaian massacre from the internet.
Yaakaar naa ne jamono boobu nag foofa laa yëgee nag waa Ghana yi nga xam ne rey nañ leen ci internet bi laa ko doon jàngee.
On the 8th of September 2005,
juróom ñetti fan ci weeri September 2005,
I returned from my overseas training and continued to work as the CDS.
Ma jël di wàññeeku nag njàng moomu ma defi woon bitim réew continuer nag nekk CDS.
And on the 29th November 2005,
29 ñaar fukki fan ak juróom ñeneen weeri November 2005,
my service was terminated without justification.
ci lañ dal di dagg nag suma liggéey bi daay waxuñ ma nag lan moo ko waral.
And later that evening,
ca guddi ga nag,
I heard about a justification on air.
Ma dégg nag ci jaww ji daal ñu ngi wax la nga xam ne moo waral suma dàq bi.
In the form of a press release,
ci ay kayit boo xam ne kayiti xibaar la buñ feeñal.
trying to assassinate my character.
di bugg a yàq nag suma der.
Then sometime in 2008,
am na jamono nag 2008,
I was invited to the police headquarters by the then IGP, Mr. Esa Baji, to come see him.
Esa Baji nag di ka nga xam ne moo nekkoon IGP jamono booba mu ooma pour ma dem gise ak moom.
I went to meet him at the police headquarters the following morning.
ca ëllëg sa ca suba nag ma dem fekki ko ci màkkaani police bi.
And immediately after I arrived,
ba ma fa àggee rek ci taxawaay bi.
he came out and escorted me to the office of the CMC, then Yankuba Sonko, to wait.
mu ñëw dal di ma gunge nag ca office CMC jamono jooja di Yankuba Sonko pour ma xaar.
Without much delay, he came back to join us.
ci lu yàggul tuuti rek mu dal di ñëwaat nag pour ànd ak ñun.
And started a sermon informing us that the country belongs to all of us, and any issue that would jeopardize or tarnish the image of this country, meaning the Gambia, would misrepresent all of us.
ci la commencé nag di wax ne réewi Gambia day réew la boo xam ne ñun ñëpp ñoo ko bokk.
Si la commencé nag di ma waare.
ci la commencé nag di ma waar di ma won ne réewi Gambia ñun ñëpp a ko bokk. te lépp loo xam ne daal daf ko xejamal bon dina am loraange goo xam ne moo ñu cee fekk.
And anything that would tarnish the image of the country, meaning the Gambia, would misrepresent all of us, and whatsoever would destroy anyone could also affect us all.
te lépp loo xam ne nag moo di xejamal mbiri réewi Gambia fii loolu dafa mel ni ñun ñëpp laa laal.
He further went on to inform us that a UN team of investigators will be visiting the Gambia.
ci la continue nag dañu xamal ne am na kuréel goo xam ne dina bàyyeekoo ci mbootaay xeet wi dinañ ñëw fii pour def si ay gëstu ci réew mi.
And in the event,
ci jamono jooju,
they call us, we should be mindful of what we say or do. At the end of his summons, I told him that I was present in the country at the time, that they were arrested but know nothing about it because it was purely an internal security matter and security service were responsible, but notwithstanding the Gambian Navy ferried them from Bara to Banjul.
Mané ko nak maa ngi woon ci biir réew mi nag waaye nag li nga xam ne jàppa bi jàppoon dara fa xeeku ci woon te ñun ñi nga xam ne ñoo nekkeen ci warli saxaari mandu war gi defoon nañ li nga xam ne moo ñu ci war ba indi leen ba Banjul.
And records are always maintained by the Navy, logging any activity that are conducted by any vessel at any point in time.
te ñun ñi nga xam ne ñoo nekkoon foofu ca manduwaar ga nag lépp loo xam ne moo di ay yëngu yoo xam ne ñu ngi cee bokk dinañ ko dee binda wax jamono jëm xewee ak naka la xewee.
I further went on to inform them that if the UN team of investigators know what to look for and visit the Naval Command, they would certainly know that these people were ferried over by the Navy.
bu fekkee ne nag ñooñu nga xam ne ay ndaw la ñu bàyyee ko ci mbootaay xeet wi xam nañ li ñoo def buñ ñëwee fekk ñu foofu dinañ leen won li nga xam ne mooy won suñ taxawaay ci mbir moomu.
Our meeting ended and I returned home and never heard from him or anyone else again.
suñ ndaje ma nag foofu lañ dal di tasaaroo ma ñibbi gannaaw loolu xamatuma dara ci mbir mi.
Mr. Chair, the Commission may note that we have written to the Navy and asked for the records that he mentioned here. The Navy wrote back to say that those records do not exist. They cannot be found.
xibaar yi nga xam ne moom la wax nag ne moom lañ bindoon foofu ñun binda nañ waa Navy bi pour laaj leen sàkk ko ci ñoom waaye ñoom daal ne nañ loolu nekku fa.
So we would present that document to the Commission at the right stage.
loolu nag buñ ci jotee dinañ ko teewal ci commission bi.
Council, can you please confirm that the full statement from which you read those excerpts is what is being submitted as Exhibit 198?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Fine. Thank you very much indeed. We may now proceed with the next witness.
We were going to tender through the witness the signal message sent by the Army showing that the West African migrants were ferried from Bara to Banjul. But unfortunately, the witness is no longer available. So we would get the Army to formally put in the records, even though many other records may have disappeared. This one did not fall through the cracks.
If you can pass that to the commissioners, they see it, and we would agree that it be entered. As,
perhaps it should wait until we can have a witness to tender the document.
Fine.
That's right. But nonetheless, we could make it available to commissioners
if you don't
to see
mind.
it.
Yeah, let the commissioners see. So you.
Okay, thank you.
You can bring it down.
This is just a copy of the main sitrep.
Yeah.
But I'm passing around the entire document.
You can give it. I had seen the thing earlier.
In the meantime, may I ask that the next witness be summoned to call to come and take the oath?
Please proceed while we check this. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I have just been informed that they were able to solve the technical glitch with Mr. Sarr, but I have informed them that, well, that is overtaken by events, The Commission has already made certain orders which have already been implemented. His oral testimony is no longer required, and that he could stand down.
Absolutely right,
Thank
Counsel.
you. Thank you.
I, Ebrima Jallow,
I, Ebrima Jallow,
do swear that
do swear that
I will speak the truth,
I will speak the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Lead Counsel, your mic.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jallow. Welcome to the TRRC. Mr. Jallow, in which language would you want to speak?
In Mandinka.
And then we would have interpretation in the Mandinka language. So I advise you to first listen to the interpretation in Mandinka before you respond to questions.
No, I mean, I would like to speak in Mandinka and maybe a translator in Fula.
That would be complicated.
Ah, okay.
It would mean we would use 3 languages. That would be complicated and it will take time. Choose the language in which you want to speak.
I want to speak in Mandinka.
Okay, then we would do Mandinka to English and English to Mandinka.
Okay.
All right? If you have people in the audience who you would want to hear your testimony in fuller, they can take the headsets. They can hear it in fuller. But we cannot broadcast it.
No, I have none.
Okay, all right, then that's fine. Mr. Jallow, you are brought here to testify about the West African migrants who were arrested from Bara and brought to the naval headquarters on 22nd July 2005.
Mr. Jallow, ikoye nati jan dalilo melna pour yesedan rodi wala nyindi ko Africa tundola jang banko dingol mel nara jannu jang sangola ikawme 2005 July karo kono ye kumandi wala la pour yesedan rodi wala fannala.
Ha.
Yes.
You have just taken an oath to speak the truth.
Anu ye kalo tale anyin kamala ko ebeto nyale fala.
May I remind you that it is a criminal offense to lie on the oath in this country?
Mbe hakilo bulan la nyinna ko nyimbankun kanjang ni bina sedandiro di la tumala men ye kali foka pare inatina kuma soto balofo mu kule me yalon ko luwati nyala.
Yes. It is also an offense to provide false information to the TRRC.
Aninkabi unyakilo nyamalam luwati nyalem fanang tumala men bina sedandiro di la TRRC nyati la jang inatina kuma sofo me yalon ko kuma soto balole mo fanam luwati nyalti.
Are you prepared to testify now?
Silang iba e parere na bang purka damuda pur yela sedandiro damuda bang.
Yes. What are your full names, please?
Tony kontongo
Ebrima Jallow.
Ebrima Jallow.
What is your date and place of birth?
Wuluta mintola andu wuluta sanjumalla.
Wuluta Makasader village, Nyani district.
I was born in
1971.
Makasader village in Nyani district, 1971.
And where did you go to school?
Ida karamodo vida damuda mintola kata karamodo.
Kuntaur Primary School.
Kuntaur Primary School.
And from there, where did you go?
Ribora ida mintola kotake.
Tata St. Augustine Secondary School, common Yemen London Pajuf.
I went to St. Augustine Secondary School, known as Pajuf.
And then?
A common entrance receipt Form 1, Nadana pass in Tata Muslim High School.
I received the common entrance in Form 1. I passed and then went to Muslim High School.
And what did you do after Muslim High School?
Yemuneke biri bora Muslim karambumbato.
Tata no teaching learning on this Gospel Wills Ministry.
I went to teach at the Gospel Wills Ministry.
Ari Wororek 2 times.
for just 6 months,
And what more?
2 terms.
In Atafoko, soldier also that Quebec officer then.
At the time,
soldier men be all Natafonyako Prunga apply.
the time it was announced that the army needed cadet officers, and I was in Foratu. The soldiers who were there informed me, and I applied.
Kabringa apply, yen commanding phone tata from the doctor exam la then information on in liktamba manata fonyako nintada jero amayam fanyi then nada ko bulaonya.
I applied, I was successful. I went for the doctor examination, but the information was leaked. My mother got aware of it, and she said that she would not forgive me if I joined the army.
Then what mo natana si famira then GPTC natana start kamulta ekomel jita high school.
I sat for some time, and then it was announced that the GPTC needed people who were high school products, and I applied.
I applied then in Atlanta.
And that was how I was employed.
And tell us about your progression in GPTC.
Silang afonyeng ilaita makamo lata nya to kisotono ranyadi le GPTC.
GPTC and Dano as inspector.
I was recruited as an inspector.
Then atata fonyaro nga senior inspector from Soto.
Later on, I became a senior inspector.
And in 2001, in Aranki course la MDI.
In 2001, I was sent on a course to the MDI.
From ICM.
Which was the ICM.
In 2001, 2002, and in 2003.
I studied from 2001 to 2003.
The ICM is International Certificate in Management.
Yes. ICM wamu kaitilati mamu international certificate de topotoro kunyal.
And you rose through the ranks.
Natana lama kamo natana kasele.
You became Chief Revenue Controller.
Natana kenyaton kolti namu kaningo topotoro nya.
And that what happened?
Mane natana ke okola.
Then another trajefu in 2005.
I was there up till 2005.
Then yalo ni program also rate masakunda ka boso luas le prokamul samba program bla.
As you know,
program kota nge saindi.
As you know, whenever there was a program, the government used to take these buses, these buses to ferry people to the venue, and after the program, the buses will ferry them back.
And kabringa mol samba from pareda.
So after I took people and I was ready,
then program will start at July 22nd Square.
The program started at the July 22nd Square. We were there watching.
Meta demanding a telephone call, sir.
Not long after, I got a telephone call.
Ex-managing director, Momodu Jang.
The first one was our ex-managing director, Momodu Jang.
Yes. And another for you, bus killing samba badala.
And he told me to take one bus to the port.
But you are revenue controller, chief revenue controller. But that was the ultimate rank. But okay, now we're talking about 2005. What was your rank in 2005?
2005
Chief Revenue Controller.
Chief Revenue Controller.
At the
completion of my course, I was promoted to the position of Chief Revenue Controller.
Okay, so on this date at Makat, on July 22nd, you were at the music festival in Makati Square. Then what happened? You received this call.
July 22nd ala tilimu wani mfuluonye in 2005 even mbendula nyendo dongo beke kandame don inate telephone muna natanake.
Ha, ingine fonye ko nga boso samba port.
He told me to take a bus to the port.
Ngata mbirol kamana njemel bodana Senegal.
To bring rustlers who were coming from Senegal.
Then, another driver clean kumandi.
Then I called one of the drivers. I told him to go to the port with me.
Then Tata.
And then we left. When we arrived, the place was dark.
Because for
me, I thought we would just collect them from the ferry jetty.
But for about 30 minutes.
But we stayed outside for a long time, almost 30 minutes. And we did not see anyone. And the whole place was dark. I told him, I asked him to return back. And we returned.
Where did you return to?
July 22nd Square, commonly known as Makati Square.
The July 22nd Square, commonly known as Makati Square.
Proceed, please.
Then,
after we returned, we were there for some time.
Then the same man, ex-managing director, Momodu Jain.
Then the same man, our ex-managing director, Momodu Jain, called me again
Jallow,
and said to me, Jallow, where are you?
July 22nd Square.
I told him we are at the July 22nd Square. He said to me, but I told you to take the bus there. You went there and then you returned. I said, yes, we spent a long time there waiting, but we did not see anyone. And the place was dark. Then I told the driver to return back with me. Then he said to me, well, they have said that they are now ready. Go. And then we returned back. After we returned, before we arrived, someone else called me. And he identified himself as Ngor Seka of the NIA.
Do you know how he got your number?
He could have gotten it from my managing director.
Proceed, please.
I answered and he asked me, where are you? I told him, we are on our way coming. And he hung up. When we arrived, we parked the bus outside.
Where did you arrive?
At the port.
Because
We passed the Navy squadron because I thought that they were coming where the ferry used to land. So he came out.
He who?
Ngor Seka. Because he identified himself as Ngor Seka. He asked, who is Mr. Jallow? I told him me.
Who the hell are you?
And he said, who the hell are you? To bring the bus up to this place and they'll take it back.
Guy, sorry, sir.
I said to him, sorry, sir. I said to him, I came here, I was waiting here for a long time and I did not see anybody.
What time was this?
It could be around after 12.
It should be around after 12.
During the day or at night?
Night. Night.
Proceed, please.
So, I
said to him, the reason why I returned back with the bus was because we were here for a long time and we did not see anybody. Then he kept quiet. He said, well, the reason why you had access to leave, it was because you are outside and you are in control of yourselves.
Then another for soldier in Navy Bundayele.
Then he ordered the soldiers to open the gate to the Navy. And he told the driver to drive in.
So what start
that was when I started to panic. Because while we were going in, soldiers were all over the place with these big guns. When you see such things and you see no one that you know, you would usually get panicked. So when we got inside there, the gate was closed. So no one knows anyone there except if they know themselves.
soldier all in uniform with heavy weapons,
you see people dressed in suit and tie, or others dressed in black, or others dressed in the normal military uniform.
So
carrying heavy weapons.
Carrying heavy weapons.
So
did you see any officers, senior officers that you can recommend? You could recognize?
soldier kebal jele be me alonko isi suite nova.
Ha,
yes.
After 1.
Later, that was while we were there until after 1.
Navy
I saw the Navy boat arrive. When it came, it moored. It took some time.
Maybe around 10-15 minutes.
Between 10 and 15 minutes. Someone came there and I heard they said CDS has come, sir. He was dressed in white shirt, white hat.
So
white haftan.
Haftan, yeah.
Then guard of honor.
Then I saw the soldiers. I think they did a guard of honor for him.
Then
Then he went inside the boat. After some time, he came out.
So
And wherever he went to after that, I do not know.
Then escalator.
And I saw soldiers take a ladder.
Ya dundi kulungo kono ya sembendi kulungo be semberin dame.
They put it inside the boat.
Then soldier killing nada.
Then one soldier came.
Ngaja ay julo murateng. Ning kulungo ning julo ba ka comme ni kulungo sembera ka julo men tay ka asidi ning fenkol balade.
I saw the soldier hold these ropes, the ones they used to tie the boats when they are anchored. And I saw these people coming one after the other. They brought out many people.
Maybe 20-something.
Maybe 20-something.
Then
they made them to kneel down.
Then
and the boat returned.
The
boat returned. I don't know to where, but it was to the direction of Bara. After some time, it came back. And it moved where it was before. They laid the ladder again. Someone held the rope, and these guys came out again. And so they were made to kneel down and into two rows. Thereafter, a pickup came, which was ash-colored pickup. Bombarde alighted from the pickup. I heard him being saluted. Permissions and permissions, just as they would greet.
Was he called by a name, a specific name?
Atek birga furata fo to tarta jela ban ka commande men na ba.
Ika file bombarder but until after until ngala ronko kausu camera fana ika file fana.
They were calling him Bombarde, but later we knew that he was also called Kausu Kamara.
How was he dressed?
Amundum fensifa nyaji.
Ni fatar den di kole dum. And in Daba could jump from a make a kurun to Bango, then you suffer finger because not understand like Aframbe Patak and program or July 27.
He was dressed in this local attire and also a big gown-like trouser. And I was made aware that he too was participating in the festivities at the square.
Someone said he was dressed like a kankuran.
Modo ya fojanko aye parela ko kankuran.
Asike, but in Tenga Menges, Fataro, by the Amanke, he said, Amanke Namoy, Belorin Jele. Fatar Dindico, Daba Kurobe Kurunduma, I only do.
What color?
It could be.
Colornyadi.
Well, no, Amanke red today.
It was not red as such.
Then I asked
Did he have red on something red on him?
Saying for family nyimbala for family be choking balaba.
As Keno, because it's a long time, maybe I remember exactly, but in Alon ko fatar dendi ko ni daba kurro ay o dunne kay sa fe fenkol be sa fe karare abala anu daba kurro ga kurun plena be tamala. It's
been a long time, but he had this traditional dress with charms all over his body, and also this voluminous trousers, which was always that he dragged as he worked.
Okay. Could you give us his physical description of him?
Ning atenye mare ni memu kausu kamare ka me bombarde ala moya ni foi sa fono mo si falem
ke among wo jamfa ba ka man suriya fana.
It's not that very tall, neither is it that short.
But koy mun dale fana domandi.
It's little light skinned.
Then these
individuals that were made to kneel down in 2 rows.
Force more floor
The first 2 individuals who were kneeling down were Senegalese nationals.
Then, is that demonstrate?
Yes, by all means.
I do not know if I can demonstrate.
Mola, help him with the microphone. Yeah. Demonstrate.
Just like there is 1 row this way and there's another row this way.
So,
you will come and hold your ear and ask you, what is your name? Where are you from? And how old are you?
If you waste some time,
if you waste time, he slaps you.
Yes.
How hard?
He slaps you hard.
That's it.
That's it.
So, especially Senegal, okay, you can't back and maybe Ikapalafano will back.
Especially the Senegalese. Usually, if you understand a language, you are always more sympathetic to those individuals. But these Senegalese, they were being slapped and kicked to the extent that some of them were crying that they were going to be killed.
At all, maybe, I don't know, Pap or something like that. But I said it in Zidane. Allah number 2 Jasi, blue one. I only do.
That individual who was one of the Senegalese was, I think it's Pape Diouf, who was dressed in a T-shirt bearing the name of Zinedine Zidane.
You said he's Pape Diouf or Pape Diop?
I am not sure.
I'm not sure.
Let's just put the evidence out there. Who knows? Maybe the family members are watching and they can...
Yeah, maybe. But
Pape Diouf or Pape Diop?
I am not sure because this is a long time. But I can fully remember when he was wearing this Zinedine Zidane T-shirt, a blue one.
Blue Zinedine Zidane jersey?
Yes.
Number 10? Number 2?
Yeah.
Which jersey? Real Madrid, Juventus, or France? Blue jersey would be France. Very likely France.
Yeah. I cannot recall.
But the number 2 is the one that is a bit... But anyway, did he say where he was from in Senegal?
I think it's Yombal.
I know but I cannot remember.
Yombal or Humble?
That's
something like that.
Yes.
All right.
That's it.
Okay. Thank you very much. Perhaps.
That was how he continued.
For operator.
Until he was ready.
How many people did he beat?
No, respond.
Anyone that was slow in responding to him, he will slap you and pass.
For an answer, then I tambi.
Until you give him an answer.
Did you see him do anything to the feet of the people who were captured?
Amen. Honey.
No.
Did you see him trample on the captives?
Well, honey, Mama, Man na may mula jide bari hakilo ba kan ka akitulo mo dala ay ninka because ibe nyoiri na teng.
I did not avert my mind to them, but I can recall him slapping them. They were kneeling down in 2 rows.
Yes. When
he holds your ear by the left hand and he asks you a question and you are slow in responding, he will slap you with the right hand.
And in Sierra Leonean Sabah.
Those 2 Senegalese and 3 Sierra Leoneans. Amongst the 3 Sierra Leoneans was a female.
And me ya tin di manina tola because what won la kondo do bi ya to mu la mi siseldi and wala muso to mu mariama siseldi and wala muso fana was origin from Sierra Leone wala ne manina tola to mariama siseldi all less kabri aboda je ni ata to falling but je akwa to mariama siseldi.
That Sierra Leone identified herself as Mariama Sise.
From Sierra Leone.
Yes. Sierra Leonean Sabalom aning Togolese Saba.
3 Sierra Leoneans and 3 Togolese.
And
44 Ghanaians. Yes. I can recall that.
44 Ghanaians, you say?
44 Ghanaian.
Ghanaian ding tans tanan nin nani.
Tanan nin nani.
3 Sierra Leoneans.
Sierra Leoneans.
2 Senegalese.
Senegalese.
And
3 Togolese.
3 Togolese.
44 Ghanaians.
Yes.
I think Ghanaian modo bigi atele sutiate beti MLB modo atele sutiate beti.
There was one Ghanaian, he was the shortest amongst all the captives.
And bald head lomfana.
And he was also bald head. He was a bald head. And he too was oldest. According to the interview that was conducted in my presence.
Yes.
Any Nigerians?
Nigerian no be kono bang.
Man. Anyway, hakilo mama.
I cannot remember, but for these ones, I remember fully.
And then what happened after that?
So
give us a description of Mariama Sise.
Mariama Sise muso nying ala moya nyim fonya mu nyadi lam muso nyadi lam.
Anim vice chair. Bela fila kanya nale. Naman jamfa vice chair. Bela fila kanya nale kat baloni jamfo bela.
Use me instead of vice chair.
The time is all over.
At least I have been to Sierra Leone.
It's offending. I'm sorry, but it's a description, I think.
But counsel, before you leave this point, the number of people who were kneeling down kneeling, how many were there? 2 rows.
Ya man kam men nyinin ka jendin council be bola infanna fora ko mol be alon ko be nyoyri kumbali ngolanu o line fulol ni mo jendam.
I did not count them because at the time I was also scared.
Yeah. Because of
the things they were seeing when they were beating them.
Especially the 2 Senegalese.
Especially the 2 Senegalese that they were beaten. That they were saying that all that they had in their mind was that these people were mercenaries. And while they were beating them, they used to say that any bad thing that was happening here, it was always spearheaded by the Senegalese.
Mariama Sise, you said she is heavy built?
Yes. She is heavily built and tall. And she also has a lot of hair.
Okay, and then what happened after that?
When they were ready, they told them to board the bus. All of them got into the bus.
Spanish Gambia.
If I have not forgotten, these buses were the benches that were donated by the Spanish government to the Gambia.
Or red bus or Bensol, red one.
The red buses, the red Benz buses.
36 seater.
That was where we boarded them, and 36 sat down. Some were made to sit on seats. Those that did not have seats were asked to sit on the floor of the bus. I also got into the bus. The plain clothes who are dressed in dark suits also got into the bus.
Soldiers
with their guns also got into the bus.
So me fundigang.
And we were on our way out.
Who was driving?
Let's leave that aside.
No,
There's nothing that we are going to leave out.
I'll give you a paper.
Yes, please.
Get fresh paper. Jankany abel bele befuntila.
Here, everything comes out in the open. Nothing is hidden.
Mike, Council, Mike.
Date the document and sign it, put your signature and write your name under the signature.
Bi lungo nying date nying asafe sando je anu aduma je ena na sign.
Do you have a special reason why you want to hide this name?
Fue dalilo sorolo mea sabu ilafta nying mabola ba. Sedo.
Because
yes, because even before I came here,
then after
I can come to you and you'll tell me.
Yes, please.
Mr. Chair, I have spoken to the witness and have reported personal safety and security considerations, which are legitimate. So we won't ask you any further about this issue, and then we just move on with your testimony.
Thank you.
And thank you very much, Mr. Witness.
But the document information will be part of the confidential record.
Oh yes, we would exhibit it as part of the confidential record.
Council kame fola mnyindi ko ninsi do nga nyoje len kachatale silang ay dalilol mendi dalilo me asabu amala fika infanna nyinga jinga je ba nga fahamle pour ala marini na tankolem nga fahamle silan tanyini ngala fenna wo fannala nga tenten sedandrola.
Thank you very much. So all of you were in the vehicle?
Al bebe boso nyinkono?
Ha, bebe boso kon.
Yes, all of us were in the bus.
And soldier trokol anila nyim pickupol jama be ñaaro.
Military trucks and pickups were ahead of us.
Dolbe koma.
Some were behind us.
Dolbe tema.
And we were in the middle.
Fundita Banjul ntada fo baka stinkona mafam.
We drove out of Banjul until at the Stink Corner.
Mile 7 mafam.
was Bakau going towards the mile 7.
No, silo later.
That was the highway we took.
That purkata traffic light mafam.
Heading towards the traffic lights.
That phone for the Kairaba station.
We went until we arrived at the Karava station. The vehicles that were in front, all of them stopped. Obviously, we too stopped. Some alighted in front. Amongst the vehicles in front, who were the security vehicles. Some of the occupants of the security vehicles behind also had some individuals who alighted. And they came inside the bus. The two Senegalese had their hands untied.
Yeah. Then somebody imagine Kairaba station bundindo bejema fa be silo dala.
There is a small house close to the Karaba station.
On the right.
On the right hand
but
side.
But ikat ni dunda de ni juda dundulal de ikat ni be dunkan station or de abetarle left la ni atra bota ni sila ba fa.
If you are from the main highway, when you are entering the station, the building is on your left hand side. So they went there. They took them there.
Yeah, about
only the two Senegalese?
Senegalese flow damma chot.
Yes, only those two Senegalese.
Ibeje for around 9 meters, 10 minutes.
They were there, well, if it's a long time, maybe 10 minutes, I can say.
Yes, but between 5, 8 up to 10 minutes.
Between 5, 8 and 10 minutes.
They
came back. They boarded their vehicles. But they did not bring back those two Senegalese into the bus. We went again.
Baba Job la Korda, Menafra Baba Job la Korda.
We went until as we were approaching Baba Job's compound.
Where exactly?
Into Fangfang.
No, I
cannot even identify the place because it was in the night time. I got to know when some soldiers alighted and stood in front of the bus.
And a direction of the driver like I off.
And they gave directions to the driver and told him to take a turn. We went until we arrived at the compound gate. And the same bombardier I found there. And I heard the soldiers saying that bombardier lives here. Bomber lives here.
So,
so we, all the people that were tied.
Were all of them tied or some of them?
All of them had their hands tied. There was no one whose hands were not tied. They were all brought down. After they were brought down, we took a turn and returned home.
Around 4:30.
When we arrived at the Kanifin depot, it was already 4:30. When I got to the gate, the security told us, but you people took a long time, you are late. Those that went out with you came back a long time ago. I told them, you do not know what is happening. Just open the gate and we pass.
Then
we went inside. When I returned to pick up to take a pickup to go home, they told me that the MD was inside the office.
The MD had to come that night?
I said, what? 4:30 and you have the MD inside the office? So I went there.
MD in Wolof, MD,
I said to him in Wolof, MD, well, what you told me and what eventually happened are two different things. You told me to go and collect rustlers, and I went there and I found people whose hands were tied. And you know that rustlers don't have their hands tied. Then he said to me, what? Was that what happened?
Yes, that's what happened.
I said to him, yes, that's what happened.
Then, okay.
He said, well, okay. I went out,
na pick up out outside.
took the pickup, and headed home.
And that's all you know about it?
This is the whole thing I know.
Thank you very much. I have no further questions for the witness.
Thank you, Counsel, and thank you, Mr. Jallow. Testimony. Commissioners, if you have any questions, please indicate. Yes,
Commissioner Commissioner Kinte,
you have the floor.
Commissioner Kinte.
Mr. Jallow, in Mbarabake.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jallow. You have spoken well. There's only one area which is not very clear to me. When they were being brought down from the bus, when you were asked, you said your hands were tied.
Left alone, I
want to know whether their hands were tied as they were brought down from the boat, or it was after they were brought down from the boat that they got their hands tied.
Commissioner Kinte Abaraka.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Kinte.
Ndenya menja mange koko te mbijele belo nje. Kabiri be fundini la kulon kono ibulol be sitiring. Kabiri be dundi la bosol kono ibulol be sitiring. Kabiri be gindigan o julu kilon be ibulol balale.
What I saw with my own eyes. What I saw with my own eyes, and this is not hearsay. Can you allow me to interpret?
Yes, okay.
The other bit, please.
Yeah.
What I saw with my own eyes, and this is not hearsay, when they were being brought down from the boat, their hands were tied, and when they were boarded onto the bus, their hands were tied. When they were also brought down from the bus, their hands were tied. Whatever happened to them or whatever they did to them after that, I do not know. They take their rope, tie one hand, and then extend the rope to the next hand, and also tie the other hand. That's what they did. They did not. They tied them with their hands in front of them, not behind them. Would they tie
Mara City?
Would they will tie one hand, extend the rope, and then tie the other hand also.
Ya kwenye pananko alejindiro ke dula kilinda malto te men kalamuta wala mu Kairaba station.
He also told us that there was only one place where you disembarked people, and that was the Kairaba station.
And there
it was two Senegalese that were taken down and who were never or not brought back to the bus again. And the rest were all taken to Baba Job's compound. Was that what happened? That was what happened. Thank you.
Thank you. There are no further questions. Witness, when the detainees or the captives were being slapped and tortured, was it just the Senegalese who were being tortured, or did the other captives endured the same treatment?
Sedo kiamon kame nyini ka wala nyindi ko biri yenyi mutamol nati fo ye dandi o dingiranyo do ye nyoyindi je fo Senegal banku dim fulol rono wala kita molde me alon ko e ka wala tulo busa bangani ki tajirinde ya ban fo ya ke o do ko tangol bela ban
ha yemel comme balafirinto li paje port jana poroto navy la office wo mu Senegalais fulolti wodol ni aje li pardon comme ni bombarde be interview la e tulo muta e be nyinin kala ima jabi tariya woto mo la ke tulo busa bari wo Senegalais fulol wolle li pata kende ke ji fon because e kanyina itandi ko
So captives of all the nationalities were tortured, were slapped.
Muntao banku dingol ni muta mol min be muta e be keta mol mi alon ko e libale waranto e tajire yale
amanke be maybe tulo busa je
not all of them
experience nyamendro comme ni na fata pour ka respond.
Just as I explained earlier on, if you are slow in responding to his questions, you are slapped.
Your name and surname and age. Ebrima Jallow, 49 years.
Just like if he comes and holds my ear and asks me my name and age, and I identify myself as Ebrima Jallow and 49 years, he will let me go.
Yeah, but a Togolese who would not understand English probably would be slapped because he may not understand language.
Bari Togolese banku dingol nyin me alon ko wol buka tuwa buka fo ni wol nyin ka fa be kala tuwa buka neti bang fo kan dolen wol man tuwa buka moy fo jandi be jabiro di la wodo
That was what happened. Even those who understood the English language, when he asks you and you are slow in responding, you are slapped.
If you have any concluding remarks to make, please proceed.
Silang ninga yatare kumasoro ibela fakela kumoda soro menna isitenteng.
Before that, Mr. Chair, I have an exhibit.
Yes, please.
The confidential information provided by the witness should be exhibit 199.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You may please proceed.
Silang isitenteng ninga yatare kumasoro ibela fakela kumoda soro menna is
What I want to end with is not much.
Just a piece of advice, maybe to any government.
Just a piece of advice for any government.
Ex-GPTC staff will mel baby ye lunkline wrong GPTC sorong.
If you look at it, the ex-GPT staff that were there, they just woke up one day and said that the place has been closed.
Yeah, sorong hani sukur kaito ima di mola kafuko. Itene dogo GPTC up from this date to this date.
And not even a single paper has been given to anyone to indicate that you have worked in this place from this date to this date.
Kadu woldol be kela sere yaro ni be dogo ni kandula do isafo no le ngado ila application no ibasa vela ngado go edula kare from this time to this time. Because I need any evidence or proof nyadi long.
That serves as evidence. For instance, if you apply for a new job in another place, you could say that I have worked in so and so place from this time to this time. But if you don't have that, how will you prove that?
Foka pare ya sorong atata 1 year ina notice jo 6 months notice jo.
Then after it was closed for 1 year, later on they made payments of just 6 months.
Wo fanam bodaji janning fen obe jola onara ke number of years ti.
And even before that is paid, it took some years.
Dola football banda mel yalon ko la musul mamunyano la football banda.
Some people
dol bige wol fata because of maybe heart ima fen ko nyintano.
Some died as a result of not being able to live with their condition. Some had their marriages, separations in their marriages because their wives could not bear the pressure anymore.
So the best thing is nibe dula sorona enyanta mol be safela kabede be tala do ko la ye safela nibe bonni la fana ye safe ya foy ko ngal bonni le with effect this date
the best
isaje ni safe safero ke dula do ka do ko nyini ise fam bag no to nyalo be do ko la janne fo kabida soronda.
So the best thing to do
do ko nyini dula do asa fo no le ko no to nyate. What is your proof?
The best thing is when you are retrenching people, or if you've closed a place, you write to those individuals indicating to them what you are about to do. Because when you are being recruited, you are written to. Otherwise, if you look for employment later on, there is nothing that you'll have to prove that you have been in employment before.
So masakunda nyanta hakilo tula wasifa to ka wasifa avoid because hali science thing ninda ko esa fa like ngado ko ke GPT le for 2012 no document of proof.
So the government should avert its mind to such things because well, he gave an example which I do not want to. Thank you. This is all I have.
Thank you very much, Emma. Sorry, one quick question. How did you know the number of Ghanaians among them, that it was 44?
44.
How did you know that number?
Ghanaian dingol membeje wol tara fo mo tan nan nani yo
wol hani je fay ba fon kanne ko Ghanaian tan nani lam so wotu mo le yini muda dal ko machinery solom.
Even there, this number was constantly being mentioned by them because in their mind they believed completely that these individuals were mercenaries.
Sorry, just a second. Being mentioned by them who?
security mel bigi because ila kuma kanu kanyine itande ko nyil mu suspected mercenaries leti.
The security officers who were there present.
Ni ala intel de ma do ni for example on mu it was real comme mercenaries yolom ni wole kelo wolin non je people like in tol mel mu civilian or we don't know how to defend ourselves.
God help us. If at all these were really mercenaries truly, and they started a fight here, this would have been very catastrophic for people like us who are civilians who do not know how to defend ourselves.
Because
so you heard the number 44 from Gambian security personnel.
Amonta ya moy Gambian na tampo bunda mol wala fa ba fo kan Ghanaian dingol membe tay tala fo mo tan nan nani.
Ani mi fa mbol be control nga nyil mel be fo nga nombal fole Sénégalais fula. Sierra-Leonean sapa muso be kono.
Two Senegalese,
Senegalese, one female, three Togolese. Mbigila amanke ko aketan ko male melorin.
You were counting them yourself?
Yes.
How would you know a Togolese from a Senegalese?
Ghanaian.
They were interviewed in my presence.
Fine. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Jallow, for your testimony. I appreciate it. We will take a 1-hour lunch break and come back at 2:30. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.